You're listening to the Dibbly-Dobbly podcast. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, and click the bell to make sure you get the latest episodes of the podcast. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. We finally reach our last topic of discussion, Jehan. It's been a bit of a marathon, as always. A long session, no doubt. Let's talk about the future of cricket in Australia and how we're going to see the game in the future in Australia, really. What do you think, Jehan? Do you think cricket in Australia will remain strong going into the years to come? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it should be. It doesn't really seem to me like that Australia or interest levels in Australia are declining. I think Test cricket is still strong in terms of viewership and interest levels. I think the Big Bash is key in trying to attract younger fans and younger people to cricket who may not necessarily have a background in cricket. So, as much as I talk disparagingly about T20 cricket, I think it is an important element to furthering interest in keeping the game going at home. So I think those would be my main thoughts. I think it's still reasonably strong. Probably the interest levels aren't quite as they were 20 years ago, which is something I'd like it to get back to. But yeah, I'll put forward my thoughts on what they can do with the scheduling and how to drive a little bit more of that interest going forward. I'd like to see cricket acknowledged as the what would you say, the home sport,
the national sport.
The national sport, that's the term I was looking for. Yeah, as a national sport that most Australians would take pride in terms of performances at home and when they tour overseas as well. That is what I'd say. I don't think it's in a complete decline at all.
Yeah, it's still in a pretty healthy place. People love their cricket still, which is the main thing. People still play cricket at grassroots level for clubs and that. So it's in a good place. It's still strong and it's still healthy, and you can't say that about other parts of the cricketing world, sadly. But here in Australia, for the time being, it's in a pretty good state, and hopefully it remains the same in the years to come.
Well, it seems an embedded part of the culture of this country.
Yes.
Which is good, and I'd love to see that continue, really, going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's still a part of the Australian psyche, still a part of the sporting culture. It's often referred to as the national sport, but some may dispute that, depending what other sports you follow. But yeah, it is the summer game, played every summer, and it's still a part of the culture in Australia in terms of the sporting culture. And obviously Australian cricket's had a rich history as well, which people look upon and say, we take pride in our cricket team. Well,
I think in terms of international sports that Australia play, it probably is the sport that's followed the most closely, would you say? Other rivals would be rugby union and soccer, maybe. Aussie rules football is not an international sport. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's more of a domestic thing.
No, it's more of a domestic thing here in Australia.
Yeah. So, I would still say it's the most closely followed sport in terms of international sports here.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. We have other sports as well that people follow, but yeah, cricket's mainly the followed sport here in Australia. Certainly in the summer months. But you also have basketball and soccer and other sports as well. But yeah, cricket's still popular. People still play it. People still watch it, enjoy it, as they do. So we wait and see what the future holds. But no one really knows what the future is, really. Can't really predict that far in time. But hopefully the game remains strong and prosperous. And hopefully we still enjoy cricket for years to come in Australia. Hi everyone, hope you enjoyed listening to Jehan and I discuss the future of cricket in Australia. If you're listening to this episode of the podcast on our YouTube channel, let us know in the comments some of your thoughts on the future of cricket in Australia. We would love to hear what you have to say.